So here we are, y'all. We are at the Oktibbeha County Lake. I've been asked for quite a few updates on this, and I hadn't been over here, I guess, probably about a year, and decided I'd come back over here. But there's a key part in this whole deal this time that I've got with me, kind of sitting beside me over here. I'm going to introduce to you. I've actually got Mr. George Seals. He lives over here in Starkville, about 8 miles from this location. And he is retired from the Corps of Engineers, and his specialty happens to be dams. So what we're going to do is we may get out here in just a second, but I'm going to have him explain kind of what happened with this deal and the dam. When I say the deal, the dam, and explain the dangers of it, if there were dangers of it, and kind of, you know, just go over his thought process, because he is an expert on this and has a lot of schooling behind all this. So we're right here. This is Mr. George Seals. So how long did you say you worked for the Corps of Engineers?
37 years.
37 years. Went to Mississippi State, then Texas
A&M, and then LSU.
LSU. So been in school for a pretty good little while. So this dam was built, lake was built back in the 60s. Dam constructed, hold approximately about 500 acres of water, give or take, on it back. But like you and I talked about, not a lot of depth of water, about 10 foot, probably be on the high side, probably 10 foot.
10 foot, so probably on the high side.
That's right. So like, it wouldn't be like, you know, 30 or 40 foot of water depth out there taking off. So from that point, he said they had a deal in '79. Kind of start off right there and kind of explain there. And I'm gonna flip the camera around once we start talking back toward the dam right there, and kind of tell us what went on from then.
All right. So I think you mentioned that the dam was originally constructed in the late '60s.
Correct.
And in the '70s, the Corps of Engineers got tasked to do a bunch of assessments on some dams to look at the safety of them. And these were dams the Corps had not built, but other people had built. And so in '79, the Vicksburg District Corps of Engineers came up and did an assessment of the dam. And at that time, they determined that the lakeside slope was too steep, the downstream slope was too steep, the spillway was too small, it needed to be enlarged so it could meet this super flood that might come down. And if it needed, those things needed to be done to it to make the dam meet current requirements that they had.
So I guess maybe the engineering firm or whoever the engineers were that initially done it may have not have done enough studies and work like on sizes and stuff for the accommodate for the flow to go through it. No,
probably what was happening was that there's probably been a dam break between when this was built in the '70s. And so all of a sudden the Corps gets a task to go out and start evaluating these dams. It's a long time ago, so I don't really remember if that's what triggered it or not, but something triggered for the Corps to start doing these assessments. The other thing they said that the county was not maintaining the dam. They weren't keeping vegetation off of it on the upstream or downstream side.
Right, and that's a big deal on a dam. You can't just build a dam and let it go. You've got to maintain it. It's got to have some TLC every year on it. If it don't, you're gonna have issues in due time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the one of the things that makes that so critical, you can't see the dam.
Correct.
You can't see it. You can't find a problem with it when it's early. And yet, with a dam, you want to find that problem early. The other thing that happens is that you have these burrowing rodents that get in there, and because of the cover, then their predators can't see them, and so they drill more holes in your dam. And this dam doesn't, but I've seen structures where a beaver's gone 300 feet through a structure.
So it's kind of almost like breaking a bone in your arm. You can't see it, but an x-ray, you have to go to a doctor and get an x-ray on it to be able to see what's going on. Right. And a dam is kind of one of those deals too, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've got to start off right from the get-go and build up from that. It's kind of like building a foundation for a house. If the foundation is no good, whatever you build from that point forward on top of the foundation, it's not going to be no good later on down the road, right?
That's absolutely true.
So you got to start off right from the get-go.
From the get-go.
And so we're going to ride, and we're going to take a look at it, and we'll go back up here where the side is slid off up there, and kind of talk about that. But that's what it looks like currently in 2022, and nothing. That was in February of 20 when all this kind of went down, and so nothing has been done from that point up till now.
Only taking that drop structure, they took that track hoe and bit out the concrete up there.
And that was what I was in the videos. I was actually my terminology on that was the riser that was on it.
That's the riser.
And chipping it down. So I was correct on that. Okay, well, good.
That's correct.
Well, we're going to jump in and ride over it and talk about it some more. So we're riding along. We're started at the north side of the dam, and we're on the east side of it right now, heading straight south, kind of below it, heading toward where the spillway is, where it runs into the creek up here.
Now, as you can tell, we're getting ready to go down in elevation.
Right
here. Okay. But about where the base of those white pipes are, that's, if the lake was full, to the regular pool, it would be about the bottom of that white pipe right there.
I got you.
So when you're looking up the dam, there's a lot of freeboard on the dam.
Got you.
And so when we talked about before what would actually flood if this dam broke, to me that gives you a good perspective, because you can't see the lake. Correct,
because like in my mind, I would be thinking the water's 3/4 up on the dam from down here. See, so that's pretty good.
And if it had been, then it would have been flowing normally through that spillway, emergency spillway.
Sure. All right, so we were down there on that road. Now we're on top of the levee. That county road actually runs straight across the levee, and this is the lake side over here. Of course, there's been a lot of things affected by this lake. You got people who's got house lots over there for the lake, and then there was still is a water park over there that's been affected by the lake, and then just the recreational value of it being down for fixing to be 3 years, sitting here virtually empty. The only water in it's just where it runs through the spillway right here, and that is it essentially.
In the 70s, when I was at Mississippi State, a group of us came out here a lot to fish, and good fishing. Oktibbeha County Lake at that time, but it was a totally different lake at that time than it is now.
I know every time I come out here, there would be somebody, in a boat fishing on it or something, some kind of recreation going on. So we're coming to the spillway. This is actually the spillway where this pavement changes here. This is where all the pumps were sitting, were right here when I came over.
At this next location, if you let your window down, you can see this structure.
Yep.
From the top.
There's the concrete right there that they broke off the riser. This is where the water runs out of the lake under through the spillway into the creek. Over here is where we're sitting right now. This is where the concrete riser was that they broke to go ahead and drop the water on down. You can see it there.
You can get it with your drone, or you can get it with your camera there. Right. It's really interesting how this slope here looks.
Yeah, because you can see where they started to add on the dirt there. So from here up, they added dirt because the waves were crashing from this side in. And it was too steep on this side and on that side both. So what they did was they kind of moved the road over, built another lane over there where they added on to this to lessen the angle, instead of it being like that where the water's smashing into it and undermining it, to where it was more of an angle like this right here.
And it came in and protected it with riprap. Originally, the dam had concrete slabs on the lakeside.
Really?
Yes.
That riprap, boy, riprap works well with water. That is a ticket for water control, that's for sure.
More than likely, when they put the slabs there, they didn't take into consideration, you know, water getting under the slabs and how that would have a tendency to wash that slab down, and so the lakeside slope deteriorated because of the protection type that they put on it.
And you can see we're starting up a hill. We're leaving the lake now. We're going to start up a hill, and we'll go back up here and turn around. All right, so we're coming back down the hill now. We've turned around. There's probably at least 30 feet of elevation difference between there and on top of the hill where we just turned around at. So you can kind of see the dam is wider here. And it used to didn't be like this. Basically, if you can visualize the top of the road, and that was it. It was like that and like that on the other side. So they added all this dirt over here. And then right up here where you can see the white sandbags, that's where it sloughed off, is what I would say, where they had a slide. And basically, I'll kind of explain this, and you correct me if I'm wrong. This was just from the new dirt going on it, not being maintained over the years. We got all that rain, and it was having, this is made on the clay, the black prairie dirt right here, started having the cracks and stuff in it, which Mr. George said about as deep as those are going to go is 8 to 10
8 to 10 feet. That's
is as deep as they're going to go. And so all this is a surface slide that comes off of this, that slid off. And that's where everybody, for lack of better terms, then kind of freaked out about this whole deal then when the doo-doo hit the fan, if you will.
Right, and from the video, you may or may not can tell this, but the top of that slide is probably 5 or 6 feet down the slope of the dam. So if you came straight across, there may not have even been water that high in the lake when this actually slid out.
Yeah, see that.
And that's another reason why the Corps and MDQ both said it was a superficial slide and it was not threatening the dam, a failure of the dam.
And then that's when all the pumps got brought in here and started trying to pump the water. And I mean, when I came over here and I looked at that, and I looked at the amount of water over here, and they got the pumps running, I was like, man, that's like trying to polish a freight train with a Q-tip, so to speak. You know, it just wasn't really working too much, and the way I saw it, you know. So kind of some crazy stuff.
I mean, it's a personal opinion. I think they did it like that to try to create a major issue, to try to get funding to repair the dam.
Right.
To where they couldn't have it, because think about how scared grandma that lived below the dam was when she hears you've got to evacuate, the dam's getting ready to break.
What made them finally break the riser off to let the water on down? Because I wasn't sure they were ever going to do that.
There's not a record of exactly why, but I think they realized that they'd spent over $500,000 to $750,000 pumping, and they just couldn't. They wasn't getting nothing.
They wasn't getting nowhere. Yeah.
And the only way to get it down was to break that riser off. And that riser took it down to where they should have been before they had the rains that brought the lake up. And if they'd had the riser down before the rains, we wouldn't be here today talking about this.
Because I felt like, for me, not being an engineer, no college, no nothing like that, that would have been the thing to do right off the bat to kind of alleviate things. First off, come up here with the excavator, reach over, break that thing off. Then they wouldn't have spent the $750,000 or whatever it was on the pumps pumping it down. That would have alleviated all of that out there, got that done, and then set the stage for something to be corrected on it and to get it up. And so now my next thing now is we're at this point now, what can we do to fix it. And from what I'm looking at, and after talking to you this morning, we've spent about an hour together already just talking before I ever turn the camera on. The main thing that needs to be done is between from these signs up, this just fixed up, basically kind of what I would say TLC, just kind of redone back up, packed in and everything. And in this area between where the riser was and the spillway up there, that section completely redone.
Right. If this, right now, this slope is in places a little steeper than 1-on-3, it needs to be about a 1-on-4, 1-on-4.5 to meet all of the requirements. It's safe at the current slope right here. It's not going to fail.
Right.
But in order to meet the current requirements for this dam, it needs to be flatter. The upstream slope needs to be about a 1-on-3. But you can see through your videos and your eyes that where they replaced the rock over there, that's been stable for years.
Correct.
Since that was put on there, and they just needed to carry it on down through the structure, and then come up with some way to economically increase the spillway.
Because initially, they talked about, first I seen a figure, I think it was $1 million, and then they were talking about redoing the entire dam for like $8 million, and then I seen a figure where it come up to like $16 million. And I remember there was with the water park over there, they had filed a lawsuit or something against the county because they were losing revenue over there because nothing was going on. So man, it was just this vicious, crazy cycle of stuff that was this went on in almost 3 years, that through the government and the county over here, and it brings us to this point right here, and the thing is still sitting here.
But if somehow or another they had the money to fix it, and to go back to on your deal about your millions of dollars, that when the engineer came up and said that he could take every cubic foot of dirt out of this dam, take it down the foundation, and put the whole thing back up for $8 million, that got me interested in fooling with the dam itself. I did a cost estimate when he did the $8 million, and I came up with about $25 million.
I think, things like that, people are kind of shooting up in the air, so to speak, and they don't have an aim at anything. They're just kind of firing, and it's just out there because this is a major dirt, because this, if I remember right, this dam from one end of it to the other is over a mile long. I
It's
checked
right
that
at
one.
a mile.
Yeah, right at a mile. And there's a lot of dirt in this thing, because this dam's very wide, especially down at the base, and then you're gonna have it. You got to have a core down there too. It's got to be cored across also too. So you're talking about an incredible amount of dirt right here.
And if the county had their way about fixing it, they have this vision that they're going to turn this water park area down into a major recreational facilities for the citizens of the county. Well, where are you going to park your truck and your boat trailer? Okay, and where are you going to have picnic tables, and where are you going to have walking trails? They'd be a whole lot better off to decommission the dam, come in here and establish some type of water habitat up through there, and put walking trails and different things back in through there. They could have educational facilities put in there, and the county could get some use, because you could save part of the lake area for a parking area.
It's one of those deals where it's kind of like a lot of things, it's kind of a black hole, and they don't know where the bottom of it is. They just want to do something to get the black hole started, and then kind of work from there, and it just ends up, ultimately, it falls on the taxpayers' shoulders to take care of everything. And of course, when we talked about this a while ago, we're in 2022, fixing to roll over in 2023, and inflation has went nuts, so you're looking at probably 3 to 4 times the cost on anything now what it was 2 to 3 years ago. And that's probably being pretty conservative.
It is being conservative.
Yeah, very
The cost of construction costs was skyrocketing. fuel costs and all are out of the ceiling. And,
Right.
and you know, I don't remember if you mentioned this or not, but the supervisor, Marvell Howard, who is the biggest proponent of getting a dam fixed, his house.
Yeah, he lives right there. We turned around in his driveway a while ago.
And so I don't believe in coincidences, you know, and I think there's more to that than the story knows right there.
Well, I wanted to come over. Mr. George had written several. There have been, because you've been to all supervisor meetings, and you were quoted in them, and I read them in the paper, and it took me a little while reaching out to him to kind of make the connection to get over here, and I wanted him to where it just wouldn't be speculation on my part. You know, somebody in the know that has the credentials, wearing a t-shirt, been there, done that kind of deal, to come over here and explain things. We talk together and put it out there in a video form to where all of my viewers could check it out, because I mean, I got viewers from around the world, you know, that watch these videos, and so it was good to be able to come over here and do this.
One of the other things, I know one of your drone flights you did this was kind of look downstream.
Yeah, we went.
And when you look downstream, if this dam had a break, you know, if there was a break in the dam, that break would be relatively small. It'd be a relatively slow release that would be released, and you've got this huge floodplain downstream with nobody living in the floodplain.
It's really, really flat, and it's really, really wide from one side to the other.
Correct.
And it wouldn't be like this catastrophic wall of water just all of a sudden releasing and just tearing everything down. There was a dam in South Mississippi, towards South Mississippi, over there outside of Wiggins. I can't remember the lake that it was.
Sandy something.
And it busted. That dam failed back several, and it did annihilate some stuff when that one released down there. It was like 900 acres or something like that.
But it wasn't made of clay like this dam. It was a sand.
So once it started, it was over with.
As soon as it started, it just started widening and getting bigger and all of that. And then it probably, you know, I hadn't studied the area down there, but I would assume it had a whole lot different geological features downstream.
Yeah, the topography was different.
The topography was totally different, because if you study the topography from here down to Highway 389, there's nothing before you get to 389 that would act like a dam. Now, 389 would act like a dam again, but by the time it got way down there, the volume of water that was coming per minute, you know, per hour, would be a whole lot less.
Right.
Because of the way it'd be spread out, and then it would start to slowly drain through there. But if you don't have something downstream of a dam break, it's going to be acting like stepping on a little kiddie wading pool, and the water's going to be real shallow as it starts running out of there.
It's just going to come out and just finger out wherever the lower spots are.
I'm going to go all over the topography down there until I can find something that makes me add a foot.
Interesting stuff. I've learned a lot today over here, hanging around and us riding around, spending a little bit of time together, and hopefully it's to help some of the viewers out, you know, because there's, over the years, man, you get on YouTube or something and you can search dam breaches or dam breaks or something like that, and there's some catastrophic stuff out there that's happened over the years where engineers didn't figure things right, kind of missed a boat on some things, and things maybe wasn't built right or something like that. And then you had a major fail, and just you know, crazy stuff going on like that. So, but
Teton Dam is a great example. But the difference between Teton and this one is that once that dam broke, it was kind of a canyon, and so it was a very narrow valley that it was running all that water through. Now that's dangerous. That's
and it didn't
bad.
have nowhere to go but down that valley, and that was it. And whatever was in that valley didn't get left; it got wiped out. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Well, we can ride on down. I'll film this side from up here up top, and so this is where it slid off, was right here. These are all the sandbags that they put out almost 3 years ago. when the thought that the dam was going to completely fail. There's several thousand sandbags down in there.
Mainly those sandbags were to hold viscline.
Right.
That membrane over to keep it from getting water down in the slide.
Because we were getting some rain at that time. I mean, every day we were just getting soaked pretty bad.
That's the outlet creek.
Mm-hmm. So I'll link a lot of stuff down below in the description box. I'll link the newspaper. I'll look at one of them and you can click on that and you can read through the articles. Just look up and I'll list Oktibbeha County Lake. This is a spillway right here, and you can read through all of the stuff from the time it started up to this point to kind of bring you up on a timeline, because basically it's almost been a book written of everything that has went on and some of the crazy stuff that has went on, and it's kind of a intriguing story to kind of dig into if you like that kind of stuff, and to just take it and run with it and go. So they had this road closed right here for a long time with them pumps sitting on it. It was closed for what, a couple months or better?
I would say 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, it was closed for a long time before they pulled them pumps out. But the pumps just wasn't getting anywhere with it. There is the update from Oktibbeha County Lake. That lake's about, it's a good 45-minute drive for me to go over there to it. Big thanks to Mr. George Seals. His wife was actually sitting in the back seat doing Christmas cards as me and Mr. George were doing all this and listening to everything that we were saying. So hopefully she was entertained while we were doing that. But it's kind of crazy, like this stuff that goes on, whether it's the bridge in Columbus or this right here, or the bridge over there at Grenada Lake that fell in. There was those three things all happened just about the same time within a few weeks of one another in 2020. And it's amazing that we live in a world of quick gratification, like a microwave, if you will. You put something in there frozen for a minute, and within a minute you can take it out and you can eat it. And we all come to expect things to in life happen like that too, kind of instantly. And these projects like this, they really don't. There's a lot that's got to go into them to make it happen and to kind of get the ball rolling, so to speak. Now, there's been, when I link the stuff down below, read through some of that stuff and just look at some of the different things that have went on, and you'll kind of figure out why this project is where it is right now. But there had been several people asking about updates on this, and me finding the time to get over there this whole year is just not been able to happen. And I've got to a point to where I've got things figured out, work schedule, to where it's like on cruise control. And so for the past several weeks, I've just kind of done, however I wanted to do. And it's been good. It's been great. And I like it like that. And I'm going to continue on doing it. So it's allowed me to kind of do things like this, or family stuff and all that. It's been really good. But I hope you enjoyed this series. Let me know down below what your thoughts on it. And if you want to look up the other videos, I'm probably not going to link them in the description because it'll take me a little while to look them all up. But just go on YouTube, put my name, Cotton Top 3, and then look at Oktibbeha, how I've got it spelled in the title up there at the top, Oktibbeha County Lake, and it'll pull up all them videos for you, and you can click through them and you can watch them and see what all is going on it, kind of the timeline on it. So again, I appreciate y'all watching. Everything has been really good in my world, and so it's been good. So we'll catch y'all later. Later, taters.